Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Your Little Castle TV show on ABC. Cardinal Cowboy here, Carter Rethers. A lot of times we can do things remotely all over the world. We're using Zoom for this interview. Tim Clemon, Diagnostic Heating and Cooling. Welcome, Tim.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I wanted to talk to you because we kind of had connected on a couple of different levels. Quick meeting, we met. Then we had another one. We're like, what are we doing for this meeting? And both were like, I think we're talking about this. Okay. I said, let's do a little clip. So here we are through Zoom. And I said, Tim, what do you think about it? You're like, Carter, that same word popped up in my head like yesterday. I'm like, well, you're ahead of me because it didn't pop into my head until today. But I did want to look it up. Tim, what do you, by the way, look at the walls behind me. You can see Tim's website, Tim's Facebook page. We're going to show those. He's the CEO, founder, or CEO and owner, and then founder too.
No, my dad.
Your dad. So, but you guys are co-owners now. You're the CEO though.
Yes.
You've taken it. All right, good. Chief Executive Officer right here, everybody. So, dynamic heating and spelled out A&D cooling.com.
Diagnostic heating and cooling.
Did I say dynamic? Well, you're dynamic too, but that won't get you to the website. You're right. Diagnostic. Thank you. It's okay to correct me. I want to get it right. Uh, diagnostic heating and cooling.com. All right, let's share with everybody the word of the day. And I gave it away there, didn't I? It's dynamic.
It is.
Tim, we both looked at this briefly in our pregame prep that went pretty quickly. I'm going to share this on the screen. Tell me while I'm sharing this, what does the word dynamic mean to you?
To me, it means continuous change. Um, Things may not always go the way that you think they're gonna supposed to go, but they go exactly how they're supposed to go. They're consistently moving, and so you have to move with it, unless you want to get left behind. So you have to be
Dynamic. Yes. And right there it says, by definition, and I say on here, add my little text, be dynamic. What do you mean be dynamic? I thought dynamic, they are dynamic. It's like a verb but it's an adjective. So of a process or system characterized by constant change, activity, progress. That's definition one. Number two, of a person, positive in attitude and full of energy and new ideas. How important is that to be successful on our little planet? Like both of those, right?
yeah. It's extremely crucial. Just speaking about diagnostic, it started. Most of the work in business came from word of mouth, and now we're in a new age. Word of mouth works great, but now I'm here with Carter on Your Little Castle because hey, we have to do it digitally and touch more people. Because I can't sit and talk to each and every person face to face all the time, but when I can, I want to. And so this is a
You'll
new
be
way.
sitting right here on Wednesday, right? Right
Surely
here, there's
will.
Tim's spot. And his dad will be joining us here in studio. So we'll have two chairs actually. The other one's sitting over there. And so that's camera number. That's the dedicated camera. There's the camera dedicated to me. So I'll stay on this one so we can converse for a minute here. But yeah, if you're dynamic, boy, she's so dynamic. I mean, she's adept to change. It's not like some incredible elusive star from another planet. That means they just are good at handling change and being positive and activity and progress. Beautiful. That's a big thing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, tell me, how does that apply to your business? How come you've become so successful? There you go. I'm just going to say, people, hey, are you dynamic? We're just going to use that from now on. Mostly because you confirmed for me that I was a little behind you, but I caught up. Dynamic. Why is that right? That made you very successful. What you do.
Yeah. Um, I would say the major thing and the major component that helped us to be dynamic and be successful was adapting to change. When my father started the company in 1972,
Oh,
um,
there we go.
heyo,
Putting the hat on, starting in 1972, man. You're talking about community. The hat comes out when you're talking about community. Starting
yeah,
1972, that's the year I was born. And that's
wow,
a long time ago. I'm 28 now. No, I'm joking. That means your company's 52 years old.
yeah. So when the company started, it was him and a buddy of his, and they decided, hey, we're gonna start working and taking care of our families. At the time, my dad had just one daughter, and he grew that from just one daughter to seven other kids too.
Oh, wow.
Um, I'm the youngest of eight, and so now here we are, changing. The number eight means change, and part of dynamic and everything is to be changed. Is to change.
Connected on all kinds of levels here. All right, so great. I want to get into a little bit more of your business. I'm going to take wall number one over here and make it. I think behind there I have, yeah, there's your website. So let me share the screen again here, and we'll talk a little bit about. Walk me through a little bit of your website and what kind of information you're making available to people so that they can make a good decision about, most times it's just we help people by sharing information. And if they decide, oh, then these people are trustworthy, so we're going to go, and that's what we're going to do this interview. We're going to have a half-hour interview next week, and then we're really going to share lots of stuff. So people go, hopefully they go, those guys are awesome. He told me about some of the things I can do myself, but I don't want to do those things myself. I want to call the
Yeah.
experts that I can trust, right? And that's what they
Yep.
need. Trust is the most important thing. So here is this website, and this is a great looking website. Good work.
Thanks.
What do you think people should pay attention to? And I think everybody can see our screen there. I'm sharing the screen. Good. I think I hit the right button there. Good.
Yep,
So,
you are.
yeah. So um, all kinds of HVAC repair, installation, maintenance. All of those are very important. Like you're going to get a new installation if you don't properly maintain it, right?
Yeah.
Sooner than you should. But you'll help them to do that so that they don't proactive, right? Is that a good policy?
Yes, that's the major thing that helped us to stay into business for so long. We have customers that are still customers from when we originally started the business. And that's the major thing is to maintain the things that you have, making sure you change your filters, getting the system cleaned and checked and so forth, just to make sure it works when you need it the most. Because if you don't do that, then you have to get it installed. I don't think anybody has 40, $50,000 to buy a new car, just every day. And so if you maintain your car every day, put gas in it, change your oil, so forth, it'll extend the life. With HVAC, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I work with people because I've done some financial stuff to say, what does a car actually cost you per day? Break that down. What's your car payment? What's your insurance? What's your maintenance? What's your gas? You're spending $37 a day to have that thing in your garage. How often do you
Hmm.
use it? Whatever the number is. Likewise with a HVAC system. This isn't just one system either. My house, I've got two floors in my house, and one floor, one heater, the other floor, another heater, HVAC, the heating component of it, right? Also,
Hmm.
then cooling on both of those. One of those went out one time. Oh, what a hassle. And I call my buddy, and he's a friend, and we hook me up, whatever. But man, everybody needs a friend like you, don't they, Tim?
I would agree.
Because here's what happens. You guys have crises every time it's spring, right? And I'll take the camera off so we can chat here for a second, or stop the share here real quick. But it goes from this happens in spring and happens in fall, right? Because once you're in
Hmm.
summer, everybody's just like, man, it's hot. I got to get this thing tuned. But I bought some fans and I caught up. But it's like, tell me if this is right. May 12th to June 2nd, some in that ballpark, maybe earlier than that. It hits 100 degrees in St. Louis all of a sudden. It was 45 degrees the day before, and it was 60 degrees
Yeah.
the day before that. But in St. Louis, you don't like the weather? Wait 15 minutes. It'll change, right?
Yep.
And bam, it's 100 degrees. And everybody's going, Tim, 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 Tim. And you're like, what's wrong? You didn't maintain your unit, right? And now
Yep.
you're calling me to come out and fix it. And I got 75 people calling me to fix it because the temperature
Hmm.
went up to 100 degrees. How often do you deal with that?
Pretty often,
Every year,
actually.
right? Twice a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. And so the thing that we put a major focus on is preventative maintenance. Let's make sure that if we can prevent it, let's make sure we can do that. I'd rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I can't stress that enough. Let's make sure we have it when we need it the most. And so if we actually do our maintenance, if we actually do our checks and so forth before it gets to 100 degrees, then when it hits that 100 degrees, it actually going to work when you need it. Same thing during the wintertime, like before it gets to negative 16 degrees outside, let's get it checked and so forth. So that way we're ready.
Yeah, kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to probably give you one of my you were on the Your Little Castle show hats. I'm going to give you two of them, not one, but two, not five. I put my rings up for that reason, right? Not five. I should switch the camera number 4, 6, 8. The Zoom stuff is fun, but you literally like you need to let people know, hey, we're good at what we do. I want you to wear this hat sometime when you're out in the field, if you would. Let them know, man, we were on TV for a half hour because we know what we're talking about. And that's why the Cowboy wanted me on because he needs people on there that know what they're talking about. So I'll give you a couple of these if that's all right.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. Well, as we finish up here, we've been going for I don't have a timer on this like I do in my normal production. So we're just, this is a free flow internet one. We go for an hour if we want to. Both of us have things we got to get to after this on a Sunday. We're meeting on a Sunday, everybody. This is what people that are successful do. Is that right, Tim?
I would agree.
You need a day of rest. I talked to my buddy. He's very religious, and I said, "What do you think about when I'm working all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?" He goes, "Well, I don't care if it's Sunday per se, but you need one day of rest." We'll take that in spring. How about that? But also, so
Friday.
you do electrical installation, electrical repair. Those two tie together very much. I wanted to talk a little bit about the HVAC stuff. It's like life and death situations people do, especially the elderly and babies and everybody in between who might have a medical condition. If your heater goes out or if your air conditioning goes out, you might have somebody who could be struggling and have to go get emergency to the hospital. And worse than that, we won't want to say, but I mean, very important you have your HVAC up and running.
Correct.
And then
Absolutely.
your HVAC does depend on, there's not gerbils in there making this thing go, right? There's this new thing called electricity. Like relative to the history of humanity, it's kind of new. It's been like 300 years since Tesla and all those guys fought about who was going to do what kind of AC, DC, all that stuff. But this, you got to have electricity to power this thing generally, don't you?
Yep, you do.
So you do both. You do electrical also.
Yes, sir. Licensed in electric and in HVAC.
And in HVAC. So you're doing both core elements that make this thing work. You need it to work, and you need power. And it's really important for HVAC because that's generally not your standard 120, right? Are you doing 240 with that, or what do people generally power their HVAC with?
Yeah, with HVAC is generally is 240 on the cooling side. On the heating side is generally 120 unless you have an electric furnace. So that's when it's going to be 240. But yeah.
Okay. I guess I could wrap up a nice. I don't want to make these too long, but we make these the shorter ones. We might insert this to the long video. That's the magic of editing, everybody. I get to do whatever I want. I can cut out what I need to fit it into that 28 minutes, 30 seconds that will air on ABC, not once, not twice, but 3 times a week. Thank you, Tim, for providing us some good content here, some knowledgeable information, and helping people to understand there's a lot at stake here, and they need to get done correctly. If somebody's been doing it, so 1972, your family's been doing this.
Yes, sir.
52 years. I know that one
Yep.
off the top of my head. There's no math I had to do on that one because that's what year, what month in, do you remember the month you launched? Your dad tell you?
Yeah, he actually started it February 1st. That was the day I was born. 18 years before I was even thought of.
And you happen to be born on the day he started the company 18 years
Yeah,
later. That's
yeah,
interesting. It's like if
yeah,
you were born the day he started and he says, I just had a baby and I'm starting a business today. No, you were born 18 years later. Coincidence? I think not, right?
yeah.
I can tell you that your company is actually older than the Cardinal Cowboys, so that's really old because I was born in May, right?
Wow. May what?
May the 8th.
So you're a Mother's Day baby.
Yes, that's where every year I get to split my birthday with my mom. I'm like, can I just have a day for me and you have a day for you? And then you get your birthday and then you get the whole rest of the year is all about my mother. And every mother, every son should love his mother, right? And that's important. Well,
Yeah,
Tim, thank you. I look forward to having a conversation like this, similar actually. I've got the questions. Did I send you the questions?
you surely did.
All right, all those questions and then anything you want to change in there, but it's all the important things that people need to know about why it's important to stay on top of this HVAC and electrical game because it's not a game. It's like life or death for some people. We've had another electrician on and we talked about it. I'm like, I'll never forget my dad had a CPAP. I didn't know how critical the CPAP was, but the power went out. So I drove up to Walmart because I know how to do that and buy a battery and a power inverter and put it together and then powered his CPAP. And he's like, Carter, I don't even have to have the CPAP. It's like I can't breathe. I'm like, well, I didn't know. I just want my dad to not have a CPAP. That's how
Yeah,
critical electricity is, right?
yeah. I'm
And then
glad you
not be
did that.
sweating. What's that?
I said I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, and I found out later he's like, no, it's just kind of a convenience and it keeps your mom from getting annoyed with my snoring mostly. But I'm like, okay, well, that's worth it right there because we don't mom upset, right? But awesome. Well, you got a great family. We're gonna meet your dad. Maybe we'll talk a little about the whole family on the show, and we might even do if we decide to do that, and a lot of times it happens, I'm like, Tim, we got to do another half hour. We're sitting here, we got everything set up. Maybe another half hour. We'll talk about that when you come in Wednesday.
Sure.
Thanks for taking time on a Sunday to have a little powwow with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks everybody. There it is, Tim Clemon, Diagnostic Heating and Cooling. We'll see you Wednesday, Tim.
See ya.
All right, thanks everybody. Giddy up.
Thanks.